I welcome all the 6th standard students to my English class. Last class, we saw many things around Raja's life and how Raja spent his life with these things. Now our story is continuing. Take your text and turn to page number 13. Making a shower. Shower means rain. Please listen, I am going to read. It was an evening after a heavy rain. Grandfather was picking flowers from the jasmine bush under the sandalwood tree. The leaves of the tree were full of raindrops. I knew I could make rain if I shook the tree, and grandfather and I would get a good shower. I liked bathing in the rain, but he might not like it, but it would be great fun. It was an evening after a heavy rain. Grandfather was picking flowers from the jasmine bush. What was Grandpa doing? Grandpa was picking flowers from the jasmine bush. Where was the jasmine bush? It was under the sandalwood tree. You look at the picture. We can see it. Grandfather was picking flowers from the jasmine bush under the sandalwood tree. Sandalwood, chandana mara. The leaves of the tree were full of raindrops. Raindrops, mazhathullikal. I knew I could make rain if I shook the tree, and grandfather and I would get a good shower. From നമ്മുടെ രാജ എന്താ വിചാരിച്ചത്? I could make rain if I shook the tree, and grandfather and I would get a good shower. വലിയൊരു മഴയൊക്കെ പെയ്ത് തീർന്നിരിക്കുകയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ആ ഇലകളിലെല്ലാം ഒരുപാട് മഴത്തുള്ളികൾ ഇരിപ്പുണ്ട്. അപ്പം അത് മരം പിടിച്ച് കുലുക്കി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താ, നല്ലൊരു മഴത്തുള്ളികൾ പടപടാ വീഴും. നല്ലൊരു മഴ നനഞ്ഞ അനുഭൂതി ഉണ്ടാവും. I liked bathing in the rain, but he might not like it. Who might not like it? Grandpa. Grandpa might not like it, but it would be great fun. അതൊരു വലിയ തമാശയായിരിക്കും. Who do you like to play with at home? Your father, or mother, or sister, or brother. You can write anything. So next para. So I quietly went near the sandalwood tree and shook it with all my strength. There was a heavy shower, and both the grandfather and I were soaked. I loved it, but grandfather did not. He turned to me with an angry look. I was sure he would catch me and beat me. So I ran. He ran after me. I ran fast, but he ran faster. He had almost caught me when he stumbled and fell. I ran away to the paddy fields, and hid myself there. I heard grandfather shout that he would teach me a lesson when I came back home. Then, after the rain, I quietly went near the sandalwood tree and shook it with all my strength, Shakti. Silently, I went near the sandalwood tree and shook it with all my strength. There was a heavy shower, and both grandfather and I were soaked. There was a heavy rain. ശക്തമായ ഒരു ഷവർ കിട്ടിയ ശക്തമായ ഒരു മഴ പോലെ വെള്ളം വീണു. There was a heavy shower, and both the grandfather and I were soaked. I loved it, but grandfather did not. As a boy, he loved it, but grandfather did not. He turned to me with an angry look. How was grandfather responded? He turned to him with an angry look. Grandfather turned to him with an angry look. I was sure he would catch me and beat me. Raja was sure that grandfather would catch him and beat him. So he ran. Grandfather also ran after him. He ran after me. Grandpa also ran after him. I ran fast, but he ran faster. Our Raja ran fast. Grandpa ran faster. He had almost caught me when he stumbled and fell. പിന്നെ ഏതാണ്ട് പിടിക്കാറായപ്പോഴേക്കും ഗ്രാൻഡ്പ തട്ടി വീണു. Then I ran away to the paddy fields and hid myself there. എന്താ പേടിച്ചവൻ എങ്ങോട്ട് ഓടി? He ran to the paddy fields. വയലിലേക്ക് ഓടി. പാഡി എന്താ? നെല്ല്. Paddy fields വയലിലേക്ക് ഓടി. And hid myself there. Hid past tense of the word hide. Hide ഒളിച്ചിരിക്കുക, hid ഒളിച്ചിരുന്നു. I heard grandfather should shout that he would teach me a lesson when I came back. What did he hear? He heard grandfather shout that he would teach me a lesson when I came back home. Here we have a question. What was the reaction of the grandfather when he was soaked in the shower? Grandfather turned to him with an angry look. Grandfather turned to him with an angry look. That means grandpa became angry. What happened to grandpa? Grandpa became angry. What was the reaction of the grandfather when he was soaked in the shower? Grandfather became angry. Then next paragraph. I did not want to go home because I feared grandfather would beat me. I stayed on in the fields. It was getting dark. I was afraid to stay there alone in the darkness. I remembered all the ghost stories I had heard. I stood up, looked around, and then ran towards home. I did not want to go home because I feared grandfather would beat me. Why did Raja don't want to go home? Because he feared that grandpa would beat him. Because he feared that grandpa would beat him. I stayed on in the fields. I remained on in the fields. ഞാൻ അവിടെ തന്നെ തങ്ങി. It was getting dark. I was afraid to stay there alone in the darkness. ഇരുട്ടായി തുടങ്ങി. ഇപ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് അവന് പേടിയായി. കാരണം എന്താ? Because he was alone there. It was getting dark. I was afraid to stay there alone in the darkness. I remembered all the ghost stories I had heard. പണ്ട് എങ്ങോ കേട്ടിട്ടുള്ള പ്രേത കഥകളൊക്കെ അവൻ ഓർമ്മിപ്പിച്ചു. റിമെമ്പേർഡ് ഓർമ്മിച്ചു. ഓപ്പോസിറ്റ് forgot. Remember, forget. Remembered, forgot. Remember, forget, remembered, forgot. I remembered all the ghost stories I had heard. I stood up, looked around, and then ran towards home. Then, next para. I was still afraid to face grandfather, so I did not go inside the house. I went to the cowshed and took shelter in the loft. From there, I could see grandfather sitting on the veranda saying his prayers. I was still afraid to face grandfather. He was still afraid to face his grandpa, so he did not go inside the house. He went to the cowshed and took shelter in the loft. Loft എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ എന്താ? തട്ടിൻപുറം. He went to the cowshed. Cowshedil പോയി. Shelter means അഭയം. He took shelter in the loft. Loft എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ തട്ടിൻപുറം. Why didn't he go to the house inside of the house? Because his grandpa was sitting on the veranda. Because his grandpa was sitting on the veranda. What was grandpa doing? He was saying his prayers. Grandpa was saying his prayers. I was still afraid to face grandfather, so I didn't go inside the house. I went to the cowshed and took shelter in the loft. From there, I could see grandfather sitting on the veranda saying his prayers. Why did Raja select the loft in the cowshed as his hiding place? Question number 8. Why did Raja select the loft in the cowshed as his hiding place? He was afraid to stay in the field, so he selected a hiding place closer to the house. He was afraid to stay in the field, so he selected a hiding place closer to the house. Then next para. Grandmother was waiting for me. When I didn't turn up, she looked for me everywhere in the house. Then she came out and called aloud for me, thinking that I was somewhere in the garden. She did not get any answer. Then she went to grandfather and asked him where I was. You look for him in the house, grandfather said. He is hiding somewhere. He is not in the house, grandmother said. I looked for him everywhere. Grandmother was waiting for me. Waiting? Who was waiting for him? Grandma was waiting for him. When I did not turn up. Turn up is a phrase. Turn up. Turn. Turn up. Its meaning is arrive. Arrive. Turn up. Grandmother was waiting for me. When I didn't turn up, she looked for me everywhere in the house. When I didn't come back or arrive, Grandma was looking for me everywhere in the house. Then she came out and called aloud for me, thinking that I was somewhere in the garden. Why did Grandma come out and call aloud for him? Because Grandma thought he was somewhere in the garden. Because Grandma thought he was somewhere in the garden. She did not get any answer. Then she went to grandfather and asked for him where I was. You look for him in the house, grandfather said. He is hiding somewhere. അപ്പോൾ ഇവരെ വിളിച്ചിട്ടൊന്നും ഒരനക്കവുമില്ല. അപ്പം ഗ്രാൻഡ്മ നേരെ ഗ്രാൻഡ്പായുടെ അടുത്തേക്ക് ചെന്നു. എന്നിട്ട് എന്താ പറഞ്ഞത്? വേർ ഈസ് ഹി? അവൻ എവിടെ പോയി? യു ലുക്ക് ഹിം ഫോർ ഹിം ഇൻ ദ ഹൗസ്. നീ ഇവിടെയൊക്കെ നോക്ക്, അവനിവിടെ വീട്ടിലെങ്ങാനും കാണും. ഹി ഈസ് ഹൈഡിങ് സംവെയർ. He is not in the house, grandmother said. I looked for him everywhere. Then grandma responded, he is not in the house. I looked for him everywhere. അവൻ ഇവിടെ ഒന്നും ഇല്ല, ഞാനിവിടെ എല്ലാം അവനെ നോക്കി. Here, question number 9. Grandmother was extremely worried when he knew that Raja was missing. Pick out the sentences from the passage which convey this idea. These are the sentences. When I didn't turn up, she looked for me everywhere in the house. Then she came out and called aloud for me, thinking that I was somewhere in the garden. You have to underline these two sentences. When I didn't turn up, she looked for me everywhere in the house. Then she came out and called aloud for me, thinking that I was somewhere in the house. Here we studied a phrase that is turn up. Turn up means arrive. You understand the story? Now, where is our Raja? Raja is sitting in the loft of the cowshed. He took shelter in the loft. Now, he is hiding in the loft of the cowshed. Then grandma was worried too much because she didn't see Raja inside the house and the nearest places. So grandma was very much worried. The 9th question, grandma was extremely worried when she knew that Raja was missing. Pick out the sentences from the passage which convey this idea. You have to underline these sentences. When I didn't turn up, she looked for me everywhere in the house. Then she came out and called aloud for me, thinking that I was somewhere in the garden. Okay. Today we can stop here. Okay.